Welcome to Comic Basics. I'm Joel, and today's episode, the top 10 superheroes that wear masks. Masks. They're as common in the world of comic books as allergies on a spring day. They protect the identity of the heroes who wear them, and strike fear into the villains who oppose them, all the while looking, for the most part, really awesome. Even though some superheroes elect to not wear them, most do. Of the many that do, some have a better look than others. That doesn't mean that there's a standard look for an awesome mask. Nope, not even a little bit. What it does mean is that a good-looking mask comes in all shapes and sizes. Of all the best-looking masks in comics, you may be wondering which are the best ones. And to that, I say wonder no more. Okay, although he's arguably the most famous hero on this superheroes that wear masks list, I've decided to put him in my number 10 spot. And why? Because it's easier to get him out of the way than to hold you in suspense for an obvious number one choice. Batman is, well, Batman. He has one of the most iconic masks in comics and has used it for decades to strike fear into any who oppose him. He is the Dark Knight. He patrols the streets of Gotham at a time when the police are afraid to, and he's one of the reasons that DC has done so well over the years. A list like this just isn't complete without him. Cyclops. His mask isn't as much for looks as it is for protection. Of course, the protection I refer to is the protection of all those around him. His mask actually consists of a ruby quartz lens that keeps his destructive power in check. Without it, each time he opens his eyes, he runs the risk of blasting a hole the size of the sun into whatever's around him. Cyclops is the on and off again leader of the X-Men, and has been responsible for some of the greatest victories and losses the X-Men have ever been a part of, and changed costumes as frequent as the day turns to night. Jason Todd's road to popularity wasn't as smooth as many other characters on this list. Unlike, let's say, Batman, who was immediately popular, Jason Todd was hated for the better part of his first many years. It wasn't until after he was killed by the Joker and came back as the Red Hood that Jason really stepped into his own. I won't say that this mask is the best looking one out there because after all it looks like a red garbage can, but I will say it's both instantly recognizable and iconic. As one of the most interesting characters in comics, Moon Knight has attracted a following like no other. Point in case, his mask and costume. Moon Knight, and I quote, wears white because, so they'll see me coming. Because when they see white, it doesn't matter how good a target I am. Their hands shake so bad, they couldn't hit the moon. Moon Knight is the combination of many characters rolled into one, a video in which I did, and I'll put it in the right hand corner. Although it may seem confusing, the dual identities offer him something most comic characters lack: depth. No matter which version of Batgirl we're talking about, one thing remains constant. Batgirl is one of the most important superheroes that wear masks. But not just any masks. The masks that the various Batgirls have worn are some of the best in comics. Like Batman, Batgirl patrols the streets of Gotham, ridding it of high and low level scum. She's expertly trained in many forms of fighting and is more intelligent than most. Batgirl is an important member of the illustrious Bat family, and due to this, is able to call upon an army of friends and family like no other. For the better part of his existence, Dick Grayson has always worn a mask. When he was Robin, it was a simple mask that covered his eyes. When he was Nightwing, it was a simple black mask that covered his eyes. And when he was, you probably get the picture. Dick Grayson is the most famous sidekick in all of comics. This is so much that any and all sidekicks after Dick are modeled in his image. Dick is, without a doubt, deserving to be on this list. I don't say this because he almost always wears a mask. No, I say this because his mask works really well for something so simple. The most famous of all the speedsters in comics, the Flash is one of many superheroes that wear masks. Outside of DC's big three characters, the Flash is their most famous. story Green Lantern and Green Arrow, he just is. Children all over the world dream of putting on the red mask with the red bodysuit and zipping from one place to another in seconds. He is the fastest man alive, has mastered both time travel and jumping from one area of the multiverse to another, and even trained others to be just like him. Similar to Batman, Wolverine also wears a cowl. Unlike Batman, who hides behind a dark cowl, Wolverine hides behind a bright yellow with a hint of black cowl. Wolverine is Canada's second most famous export, beer of course being the first. He's a quintessential member of the X-Men, a leader when called upon, and a mentor to any who seek him out. As I'm sure you already know, Wolverine possesses a healing ability that allows him to recover from practically anything, nuclear blasts included. He's also an expert in most forms of combat, can track just about anything that moves, and has a skeleton that has been fused with adamantium. It really doesn't matter which of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles we talk about, the only thing that separates their masks is the color. But this wasn't always the case. In their early days, the Turtles each wore a red mask. It was only after they landed on Saturday morning cartoons that their iconic colored masks began to appear. If you're unfamiliar with them, Leonardo wears blue, Donatello wears purple, Raphael wears red, and Michelangelo wears orange. The Turtles are as synonymous with their masks as a zebra is to its stripes, and will remain that way until they aren't popular anymore, which seems like it could take a long time. Of all the heroes in Marvel Comics, none are as well known or liked as Spider-Man. He is the face of the company, and has been so since his creation. In fact, many legal battles have happened between Marvel and Sony over his rights. Spider-Man is the reason that Marvel exists, and will continue to be so until they decide otherwise. Sure, the company has other characters, but none are as important as Spider-Man. Simply put, he's everything to Marvel, and so is his costume. And I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button. Thanks for coming out. I hope you'll come back, and until then, I'll catch you next time.